Welcome to the Talk Unmentionables podcast, an inclusive space for real, unfiltered conversations about topics we often shy away from. From confronting imposter syndrome and redefining your professional brand to navigating the complexities of marriage and parenthood to coping with grief. Each episode explores life's unmentionables with openness, empathy, and authenticity. This is a space where honesty meets growth. In what ways did grief reshape your understanding of yourself? And how has that understanding strengthened your resilience to moving forward?
So, if I'm being honest, grief really, truly reshaped me as a woman, me leaning into, who I am and also reminding me that I do not have any control, right? We want to control everything.
Yes.
We want to control the outcomes of our lives. We want to control where we want to be in life. And for me, I honestly, I thought my life was changing for the better. I thought I'd be married right now. I thought I would be further along in my career. I thought that my mom would still be here. So my life turned upside down and it's not the same. So now I have really, really leaned into understanding that through this process, I'm much more resilient now. And I'm resilient because of life and experiences and wisdom. And we truly do understand our lives backwards. We live it forward. And I learned that actually from Joyce Myers. My mom would listen to her a lot. And so when she passed, for whatever reason, I tend to tune into her a lot more. And one of the things that resonated with me when I was listening was that we live our life forward. We understand it backwards. Now I'm in 2025. I can understand in 2023, it's a little bit more clear now.
Yeah.
And I asked myself with grief, why did this happen to me? Why? I had all these questions and I've learned that, it's not about why it happened, right? It's not about that. And I'll never necessarily understand or have that why. But what I have learned is that I'd rather have it have happened to me to have to experience the loss of someone that was murdered and my mom passing. I'd rather it be me than you. I don't wish that on anyone, right? To have to experience that pain. And for whatever reason, this is my story. This is my experience. And I'm leaning into that and I'm learning from it and I'm turning it to my purpose.
Yeah.
I'm helping others. I'm serving others. And I am also learned that what really matters is not all the things that I thought mattered before 2023. What really matters is relationship.
Yeah.
What really matters is, like I mentioned earlier, being the light and helping others and pouring in and spreading love.
One thing that you mentioned early on, you changed as a woman.
Yeah.
I want to dig a little deeper into that. How did you change as a woman?
I started, honestly, one of the ways that I changed is, working on the inner parts of me, right? The most beautiful parts of a woman is really your heart. And so I worked on transforming my heart through my mind, through my thoughts and thoughts becoming things. I worked on transforming my body. I am a Pilates girly. I'm a matcha girly. So I have really leaned into peace. I've leaned into being content with who I am as a woman, being content with where I am and not where I think I should be, being content with not being married, being content with being single. And doing that is really fulfillment. It's really fulfillment leaning into that. Taking myself on, trips, getting in tune with nature, right? Doing things alone, like sitting with myself and learning that my true happiness resides in who I am as a person inner. While I thought marriage was like this, it was like so important to be, to have a spouse, but to have someone, and that person was taken from me. And in that moment, I had to relive, I had to unlearn what I thought, relearn a new way of living, living alone, living without my mother, living without my emergency contact, living without a man to love on me and support me. And now I realize that my happiness starts with me.
Yeah. That is so important. Something that I'm personally
Yes.
working on
Yes.
right now in this season, knowing
Yes.
that it starts within.
Yes.
And you need to love yourself in order to love other people and other people to love you.
Yes.
But at the end of the day, if you don't have that love from the exterior,
Yes.
what really is going to take you forward each and every
Yes.
day is your self-love.
Yes, and self-love is so important because it's contagious.
Yeah.
And when you love yourself, you're able to truly love others. And I've learned that now walking in this season of grief and singleness is that I must love myself. I start my day with me and I'm going to end my day with me.
Yes.
And so if I'm able to own that, then the people that come around me, I can love them genuinely, and I can not depend on them to be the love that I need to be for myself. And
Yeah.
so that's important as women. I think we need to definitely be able to love ourselves, and then you're able to spread your
Yeah.
love.
You can't pour from an empty cup.
Yes, that's it.
So I want to hear a little bit more
Yes.
about God Friends, the virtual Bible
Yes.
study community that you created for women.
Oh.
And specifically, what inspired you? What inspired you specifically at the time that you established this community? Tell us all about it.
Oh my goodness, God friends. So interestingly, so in 2020, every year I start the year with a fast. It's the Daniel's fast, essentially, where you give up, some food, and you give up maybe even social media, whatever it is that is a distraction to you. You sacrifice that for 21 days. And so I was in the middle of fasting last year, and through that time, God spoke to me about starting a Bible study. And I'm like, me, God? No way. No way. I am not a Bible thumping Christian. Sometimes people have that stigma of like, oh, they're quoting scriptures, they are holier than thou. And that's just not my energy, and that's just not my vibe. While I am, I like for people to feel and see God's light in me and through me and let me be an example versus me quoting scriptures. So I didn't want that to be kind of the perception of who I am. So I'm like, no way. This is during the fast. I'm like, no way. So then I'm continuing on praying about it and continuing my fast. And then I get another kind of sign, if you will. Like, in fact, it was Joyce Myers. She said that she started a Bible study out of her home. And that's what they did in the early days before there was church. There was home Bible study. And I'm like, there's no way, Joyce. I love you, girl, but I'm not doing that. And so then I continue to fast. And during my fast, I also listen to different podcasts. I read my Bible. And so there was some scriptures that resonated with me in that season. And then more importantly, there was a video that I was watching during my fast with Priscilla Schreier. And on the video, she said she started this home Bible study. And I'm like, oh my God, you got to be kidding me. How many more signs? And I'm like, I don't want to do this. And I'm like, I'm not prepared. And then even in one of the videos that I was watching during my fast, it said something along the lines like, God prepares who he calls. And I'm like, shoot. Okay, so he's going to prepare me. Okay, fine. So I'm going to try this. And so I said, okay, I'm going to start with just a couple girlfriends. I'm like, I'm going to call a couple friends. I knew one of my girlfriends was going through a breakup. And a couple other of them were, having some challenges at work. So I was like, I'm going to be safe. I'm going to start with people that I know so that there's no pressure. And so fast forward, I started the Bible study in January of 2025, and it grew. I could not believe it. I started with like 4 or 5, and now I had to move it from a personal chat to a group meet because we have over 50 women.
Wow.
Through word of mouth.
That's amazing.
And I was like, oh my goodness, I'm not prepared. And I kept praying, God, prepare me. God, prepare me. I wanted to keep it small and intimate, right? And then I'm like, but I can't tell someone no that wants to come to a circle of women in a community. And so I'm like, I started just telling people yes. And then finally, I'm like, okay, I need to kind of pause this to kind of wrap my arms around. But then it became such a commitment that we started in January, and we just wrapped up our last session for the year in November. So we went 11 months. 11 months, these women devoted their time and commitment. It was an hour session, but sometimes, honestly, we would go 2 hours because it turned into just a community of women that felt vulnerable and safe. And whenever women join, I ask them, I said, this is a safe space. So you never know who's connected to who. So you have to have confidentiality. That may be the HR in me
Yeah.
because I am a HR professional. And so that may have been the HR in me saying this, that confidentiality is very important, that you never know who's connected. And so these women are being vulnerable about their careers. They're vulnerable about their husbands, their children, the issues of life. And so, yeah, I started it, and it's my baby, and I'm just so grateful and so humble
Yeah.
that it's continuing to grow.
Yeah, and I'm excited to say that I'm a part of the community now too.
Yes.
Yolanda actually invited me to speak to the group on servant leadership.
Yes.
And I was so inspired by the women that right after the call, I asked Yolanda to add me to the group me. And I had the pleasure of sitting in on the last two sessions.
Yes.
And I know that you all are working on a toy drive for the holidays, which we're really excited about.
Yes,
So
exactly.
I love that. Is there any way people can contribute towards that toy drive that
Yeah.
are in the DC metro area?
Yeah, absolutely. We can drop the links, but actually, so I am on social media. I'm embracing the fact that I need to be part of social media to even promote some of it, because I'm truly humbled by my experience. So I don't have like a God Friends network on social media because it's really private and intimate, but I'm thinking about now the impact that it's made, and I'm thinking about some of our kind of strategic goals for the year around like doing more in the community, and how can I have meetups for other women that want to be surrounded by like-minded God friends. It's a difference. Having a God friend is different than a regular friend.
So tell me the difference between the two.
Okay.
And what made you land on that name?
Yeah. So interestingly, I have a good a girlfriend, Amy, actually. And so Amy and I would be on the phone, and one of the things we would call each other was, or I actually started calling her that first, like, a God friend, because she and I went through Queen Esther, which is the discipleship program that I shared with you all through First Baptist. And so we went through that similar program together, the discipleship. And one of the things that we learned is that the difference between a God friend and a girlfriend is that a God friend is not going to be judgmental. A God friend will be a good listener. A God friend is a safe space, right? Because we are really operating in God's love. So it's going to be a loving, committed friendship. And so that's the difference between a God friend. And so when I started the Bible study, I didn't really have a name. And then finally, I started referencing that during our sessions about the importance of God friends. And then Amy said to me one day, Yolanda, maybe it should be God friends. And I'm like, you know what? It's right, because I'm always referencing and I'm always saying that there's a difference between a girlfriend, because girlfriends sometimes they will hold grudges, right? You tell them that something about your spouse or the boyfriend that you're dating, and they hold on to it.
And sometimes they hold more of a grudge than you do.
Yes.
Yes.
And so, and when you're a God friend, there's the importance of forgiveness, right? Forgiveness is so healing and therapeutic, right? Even if you're not going to be with a person forever. Like I said, I've gone through grief, I've gone through divorce, and even in my divorce, I had to forgive my husband, right? And because I have a son with him, and I wanted my son to grow up and be to believe in love, to desire, hopefully, to have a family of his own. But if he saw confusion in me, right, and in confusion with us being kind of the head, if you will, I didn't want that for us. And so that was another decision to say, you know what? You have to have forgiveness. And that's why to all of my girlfriends, I'm a God friend. They know that I'm a safe space, because I am very, very focused on being more like God with them and not judging them. So if they get mad and they go back to their husband, that's okay. Or they go back to the boyfriend or the whatever, I'm supportive.
Okay. Well, I need you as my God friend.
Yes, I already am.
You are, but I needed more.
Yes.
All right. So going deeper into God friends, what has it meant to witness women find comfort, healing, and connection through the space that you have created and the leadership that you provide in this space?
So you were on our last session.
I was.
Right? And our last session, we closed out with declarations for 2026. And people including yourself, poured into me around the value that they've experienced for the 11 months. I actually ended that Zoom feeling so humbled. There were even tears because I realized I'm like, I'm not operating in self. I'm truly operating in a spiritual whim and just doing my assignment, listening to through the fast to do this, listening to serve. I'm not of my flesh of in terms of just wanting things for me. I'm pouring in. And this has also been very therapeutic for me because people sharing their life experiences and me sharing my life experiences has been incredibly therapeutic. So for me, in this season, I have so much humility. I have so much gratitude that to see God using me in this space, I would have never imagined this, Denise. I'm being honest. I would have never imagined the little old me that people would even want to hear my voice. I didn't think I was equipped. I really didn't. But I learned through even you coming to talk about servant leadership and you're saying like, hey, I want to be part of this. I'm like, are you sure? But it's like, it's such a beautiful thing. So I am so, so grateful that I can be the change that I want to see with women and that women are willing to spend their time with me because this is a dynamic group of women, honestly. I mean, I have to talk about the God Friend Network because these women, I mean, we have lawyers, we have leaders, we have entrepreneurs in this group. We have some doers. I mean, there are some heavy hitters that are married, that there's some that are single, there are some that are stay-at-home wives. So there's such a diverse group of women that I am just super humbled that they want to be part of this.
Yeah.
I really am.
And it's when you're talking, it's not just you inspiring other people. These women inspire you.
Yes.
And
Yes.
and given the inspiration that they're giving you, it fuels you to show up a certain way as the leader of this group.
Exactly. Yeah, absolutely. It shows they inspire me to show up every week and many of the women they had perfect attendance. One of the things about I know because it's like I didn't want when I created the space, I tell the women, I call every woman that want to be part of it. I call them and kind of give them the rundown because they're coming in at different phases, right? And so I would always tell them like this is a safe space. It's a place for vulnerability, but more importantly, it's you don't have to be here every week. They were coming, people were there every week. And like we did in the beginning, we started off with actually there was a Sarah Jakes book, Woman Evolve. We started off with that. And that was really just getting the women to be naked, if you will, and vulnerable. So we kicked off with vulnerability. And then we went into when you pray. So we learned how to pray. And then we went into some real talk sessions. So it's been very diverse. So it's not like it's all about just we're opening the book.
Bible.
Yes, right. We're actually doing activities. So we go out in breakout sessions. We had some real talk sessions on marriage. That series went longer than anticipated. We spent time on marriage. We spent time on health as wealth. So the importance of taking care of your body, eating good. We talk a little bit about finances. So this is not just, we're aligning everything with God's word, but we're talking about real life topics. And I have to say that when we kicked off in January, it was so heavy because there was a change of leadership and administration. And two of the women was impacted by that when that DEI was cut. There were a couple individuals in the group that did not have their position anymore. And we prayed for them. Both of them got jobs right away. And there was another situation where one person lost their mother. And God used me in that moment. I'm still pouring into her. And I'm able to be her strength. I actually asked them to take up a collection, right, for the woman that lost her mom and the person that lost her grandmother. Women, They gave with no problem. We sent flowers. We Zelled for them to maybe do a spa day. And so that kind of community. And I just was like, God, wait a second. How is this? This is so amazing. We're really showing up for one another. And then we even met up we did a brunch together after we completed the very first session. One of the ladies in the group is an entrepreneur. She owns a restaurant in Baltimore, one of my closest girlfriends, and she's very near and dear to my heart. And she was there for me through grieving and welcomed us all to come to her restaurant. And we did a brunch for congratulations, kind of kudos.
Well, I need to get invited to the next
I know,
brunch.
right?
Okay?
Yes.
All right. So as we've been talking through your journey, one thing that really stands out about you is your intentionality in seeking support.
Yes.
So we talked about your faith. We talked about grief therapy. For someone that's listening right now who is feeling that they're barely hanging on, what are some of the impactful tools and resources that help you in the beginning to really navigate the grief, whether it's the grief as it pertains to the love of your life that you lost, your mother, or even the divorce that you went through?
Yes. If I could give one tip, and that would be number one, I'd have to give a couple. Number one, stand still. When you are in the midst of change, you must be still. Be still because these are times when you're going to make some important decisions, right? And you don't want to be led by those feelings, because in that moment, you're feeling darkness. You're feeling angry. You're feeling confused. So you want to stand still so that you don't make any wrong decisions. And then my next suggestion is that it's important to keep going. Whatever you were doing before the divorce, whatever you were doing before the separation, whatever you're doing before the loss, keep doing that, because you want to have a sense of normalcy. Even though it's hard, push through, because it's changing gears. You're not focused on the problem, right? Because if you focus on the problem, you're going to sit there. If you say, I just don't know what to do. And so you'll stay stuck in that problem. But if you say, okay, I'm going to get up, I'm going to take a walk, right?
So you said two things, and they sound a little counterintuitive. So I want you, for people that are like, well, how am I standing still but I'm moving? What do you mean stand still? So
stand still would be part of your feelings and emotions and making decisions. Stand still in that, because we are quick to move as it relates to our feelings. So stand still and pause with all of the feelings and emotions, because your feelings might say, I want to drink more, right? I want to go out, or you find something that will try to take away the pain, right? And so when you're in that stillness of the mind, standing still in the mind is what I mean when I say stand still, because when you're in a season of change and challenge and transition, you can make some very bad decisions. And some people lean into drugs or alcohol or partying, right? And so still your mind, stand still in your mind and say, no decisions right now. I want to be still and get a feel for what I need to do in that moment. So stand still with the decisions, but keep moving with life as it relates to, if you can get up and go to work, if you can move your body, if you can make a nice meal for yourself, keep going with that.
Awesome.
Yes.
What were or still are some practical things that you did or do that genuinely helped you through the hardest days, or still some of the hardest days?
Yes.
Daily routines, grounding practices, journaling, praying, therapy. You've talked about it a little bit more, but are there specific ones that really stand out to you that help you get through those tough days?
Yes, absolutely. Like I said, before my feet hit the ground, there's an app that I use. It's called Abide. And I use that every day. It's like a 3-minute meditation, and it is faith-based, but it is helpful because it helps to set the tone for the day. So before my feet hit the ground, I make sure I pause and say thank you, and I really set the tone for the day. And then I also have been married to the gym lately.
Okay.
Like I do not miss Pilates. All of my friends laugh. One of my girlfriends, Tracy, she's always like, it's Friday, I know it's Pilates. And so I am super disciplined when it comes to my body and my mind, because that really, the discipline that you create will then go into other areas of your life. So choosing yourself first, right? Because before I can pour into others, I have to pour into Yolanda.
Yeah.
And so I do that by setting the tone, affirmations, reading my word, taking walks, right? Those are the kinds of things your future self will thank you. Your future self will say thank you for moving your body, because stress can kill you.
Yeah.
Stress can attack your organs, right? And so I've learned that, and I've leaned into that, and I said, if I can be preventative with my health and taking care of my most important asset. Now, don't get me wrong, money's up there with oxygen, but you can't do anything with the money if you're not mentally strong, if you're not physically strong. And so that's very important for anyone that's struggling out there. Make sure that your self-care and your inner heart work is taken care of, and try to find some sort of routine that will be useful for your mind, body, and soul.
Yeah. So with everything that you shared, pouring into yourself is the key thing that keeps you going and motivates you through those hard times.
Absolutely. Pouring into myself. Yes.
Yolanda, I really enjoyed our time together. I really just want to thank you for being here today, for being so open, honest, vulnerable on a topic that is so challenging. And like you said, around the holidays especially. So the fact that you were able to walk through and relive some of those traumas that probably still live with you from day to day means so much, not just to me, but I know somebody out there that's listening that's going through this. And again, to your point, we're all going to go through this at one point or another in our lives. So having a resource like this, a conversation to prepare you or guide you through a journey like this is something that I really appreciate, and I'm sure our listeners will too. So thank you again for your time here. And I just want to give you a hug, girl.
I know, thank you for having me. God, friend.
To our listeners, thank you for joining us for another episode of the Talk Unmentionables podcast. Grief is one of those experiences we don't talk about nearly enough. Yet, it touches us all. If today's conversation resonated with you, please share it with someone, as we all experience grief in some form or another. Stay tuned for the next episode and visit talkunmentionablesmedia.com to learn about my consulting services. Until next time. Whether you're seeking guidance for your business, your team, or your own professional development and personal growth, I would love to work with you one-on-one to help you achieve your goals and bring your vision to life.